Hi everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, whether you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, whichever one you are watching this on. And I probably should have said video instead of channel, but I guess it's too late now. So anyways, in this video, I'm going to be addressing claims that that ICE agents are zip tying children. Because I've been seeing posts on X lately that talks about, well, good guys don't zip tie kids. And it says that, and they didn't represent what they was talking about, and I had no idea what they was talking about when I first saw that, because I hadn't heard, who's zip tying kids? What's this about? So I looked into it and found out that people are claiming that ICE agents are zip tying kids. Furthermore, they are claiming that some of those kids that they are zip tying are either naked or almost naked. That's what they are claiming. And there's supposedly eyewitness accounts backing this up. I think there's been reported a few witnesses. I don't know how many witnesses there are. However, when I was looking into it, the video footage that we have so far seems to conflict with what these eyewitnesses are saying. Okay? I mean, maybe there were partial truths into it. Okay, so ICE agents did recently raid houses and there were people in zip ties. You can see in the video footage. But you also don't see any evidence that there was any kids in zip ties in that footage. Okay? So, this brings into question whether or not those people, those alleged witnesses, were lying. Because I wouldn't put it past them to just completely make up this story, to push a false narrative. I mean, mainstream media is already pushing a narrative that makes ICE look bad. Leftists already have a negative view of ICE, constantly painting ICE as Trump's Gestapo, and depicting Trump as Hitler and MAGA as Nazis. So, therefore, this draws into question the authenticity of this story to begin with. Now, according to what I've looked up, the only so-called evidence of that ICE agents were zip tying children come from those witnesses, come from what these witnesses are saying, these alleged witnesses. And yet, we don't see any evidence of that in the video footage that we have so far. Okay? I mean, the video footage does not show any kids in zip ties. So, that right there is it's another misinformation. It's another left-wing talking point debunked. Also, apparently there was an image going around of a girl being zip-tied or of a child being zip-tied or something to that effect. And that picture turned out to be fake. Okay, so there was a fake picture going around to be used to push that narrative. Now meanwhile, the actual video footage of the raid that they were referring to does not show any kids being zip-tied or wearing zip ties or any kind of restraints at all. Okay? And if some of them were in various stages of closing, if some of them were naked or partially naked or something to that effect, then I want to know why, because I don't think ICE agents had anything to do with that. I want to know what was going on in those houses before it was raided. Okay, I mean, like, if those kids, like, because I think that the video footage did confirm that these kids were in various stages of closing. Some of them being, nearly naked or such to that effect. But again, this begs the question: why? What was going on? Did these kids actually get rescued? What was going on behind those closed doors? I mean, I could see it maybe making sense if these kids were like toddlers or were preschool age or something like that. But, okay, I had not seen the video myself, but I'm going off of research, and which described the contents of the video. So, going off of that, I don't know the ages of these kids, but I'm going to assume that regardless of how old these kids are, that the kids that were, naked or almost naked, may have been rescued from being trafficked or something. Okay, but none of them were in zip ties. Okay, these kids, I believe, were rescued because what was going on behind closed doors? Why else would these kids be, so like almost naked? What's going on? And like I said, I could see it making sense if we're talking like, if they were about toddlers or something, or preschool age, somewhere around that area, like 5 and under, maybe. I mean, I could see that possibility, but it still doesn't make completely sense. I mean, I guess it could also depend on what time it was. Were these kids getting ready to take a bath? Or was there something more nefarious going on, and these kids was actually rescued from something bad? Okay, I mean, we don't know if these kids were actually with these people, if they were kidnapped or what. I believe that's still under investigation. But whatever's going on with those stories, one thing is certain: those kids are not being zip-tied. There is no evidence of kids being zip-tied by ICE. Okay? There is no evidence of that. You don't see it on video footage. Okay? Because there's a video footage that's available that conflicts with eyewitness accounts. Okay? It doesn't add up. And now it's being used to push another false narrative. I mean, and I wouldn't put it past the mainstream media to do that. And these people spread it on social media. I mean, they have patterns of that. For example, they was painting the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. They was painting that as Trump's birthday parade. They was pushing that narrative. Oh, that's Trump's birthday. All because it happened to fall on the same day as Trump's birthday. All because of that. So all because Trump's birthday happened to fall on the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, which I guess technically was, Trump's birthday happened to coincide with that, and it would have, no matter who won the, I believe that if Kamala Harris had won the election, nobody would have cared about the parade. In fact, they would have probably knew that it was a military parade. not a birthday parade, because that was being prepared even before the 2024 election. Okay? But because it happened to fall on Trump's birthday, they're pushing a narrative. It's Trump's birthday parade. Yeah, they're pushing that false narrative. And people was posting stuff about that on social media. And there's a lot of speculation going on there. A lot of false narrative. And then when the Minnesota lawmaker Melissa I can't remember her exact last name, Whitman or I don't think I'm saying it right. Like everybody who I'm talking about, like back at the end of June, whenever she was assassinated, they tried to push a narrative that the shooter was a Trump supporter, and I don't think that's ever been officially proven. Okay, and last I checked, we still don't know a motive. At least not last I checked. I have checked that story for a while, but as of the last time I checked, we still don't know a motive. There's a lot of stuff that wasn't adding up, and I lost track of that story. Okay? But nonetheless, they try to blame that on Trump supporters, try to blame that on MAGA. But the truth is, we don't really know the guy's motive. Last I checked, okay? They try to blame a Trump supporter for Charlie Kirk's assassination, try to push that narrative, and I think some people are still buying that. And I believe some people are still buying the Trump's birthday parade narrative, even months after the fact. But the point is, the media is pushing false narrative. Okay, it's using these stories to push false narrative. They have a history of that. Okay, a long history of that. And spreading lies and misinformation. Okay, so therefore, because of that right there, that makes their claim about kids being zip tied by ICE, it has no credibility. And according to according to research, so far there was no evidence of that going on whatsoever. Okay? And people on X are trying to claim a moral high ground. Good guys don't zip tie kids. Well, first of all, who's zip tying kids? Wait, get your facts straight. Where are your facts? Okay? And I don't know how they can claim moral superiority when these are also the same people that literally celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination. So, yeah, I mean, what else would you expect from hypocrites, I guess? See, what else do I want to do? I think that's about it. Okay, there's a lot of misinformation going on about ICE already. People were already, calling ICE Trump's Gestapo and painting ICE as bad guys. People already had a negative opinion. They already claimed that ICE is kidnapping innocent people. They already have pushing a lot of false narrative about ICE already. And this right here is nothing new. This right here is another false story about ICE. Okay? I mean, no evidence to back up this claim. Okay? Just another story. Another made-up story. That's all this is. Another lie. Another unverified claim. Okay, and I don't trust the authenticity of those witnesses. I think those witnesses are lying because of the video footage. Okay? Well, that's it for this video. Bye.